Well, hello, friends out there in Kickstarter land. Robert Hamm here. You guys know me. It's time for another backer update. We've got about 70 hours to go. Remember, we're finishing up our Kickstarter strong with over $20,000 capital raised. That's amazing, guys. You've done a great job. And over 215 people have backed the box already. I think we're up to 220, and we'll see how that number kind of bounces around. For those of you die-hard backers right there, I want to thank you for sticking with me. This last week has been an up and down kind of hill where we have had continuous backers backing the box, but we've also lost some backers. So if you're on the fence about backing or not backing, I want to remind you, hey, we've got a lot of momentum and we're moving forward. And what does that mean? If you decide to back the box now, you guys got some really great things. You got free shipping in the US, and I covered $10 of shipping outside of the US. It cost me 26 bucks to ship around the world. Everywhere else around the world was only charged 15, so I was covering $10 of the shipping, plus the price of the basic NuBox and all the models is currently at our NuBox One price, which is $20 less per box. That means that going forward, every box that's sold will be $20 more expensive. Now, that's very important because we've had such a great success here. We're growing the box right now just by word of mouth with what you guys are doing, what you guys are backing, just with word of mouth. We're actually growing the box by 2 backers a day. Now, for those of you that have seen the numbers kind of jumping up and down in this last week, yeah, we did hit a long home stretch where things seemed to kind of taper off. But what we saw was there were backers that were dropping out, and there were new backers that were coming in. So it kind of let our overall look around 25, 26, or you know, just let us look at 20,500, 20,600, just kind of let it bounce up and down, and so it kind of equalized. So I want to thank those of you that emailed me and asking what you could do in order to help, and I want to thank those that went ahead and shared on your social media. You've been a part of keeping the box moving. For those of you that are on the fence about jumping out of the box, I want to remind you that we will continue. Pre-orders will go on sale for NuBox 120 at the regular retail price over on Indiegogo when this ends. So if you jump out of backing the box now, that's okay, and you choose to back the box later, no, it's going to be at the retail price and full shipping wherever it is in the world that you go. And that's something that we've talked about from the beginning. Those that are backing the Kickstarter campaign, you guys are getting the limited edition NuBox. You're getting the NuBox One. This is the only time NuBox One will ever be produced. George is actually working on a special logo to go on the back that we haven't even seen yet that commemorates the NuBox One. So you guys will have that right here on the back. It'll be just the one. In fact, on the back, all it is a stylized one to represent NuBox. So, if you guys are on the fence, if there are some of you that are on the fence, I don't want to beg you to stay. I'm happy that you felt comfortable enough to back the box in the first place. But if you do leave, recognize that going forward, the regular retail price is $99 and $20 more per box plus shipping wherever you go. So, you guys that back the box saved it at a minimum of $30 US right now. So, let's talk about some fun things. I'm going to include a NuBox patch for everyone. All of us backers, you all get one in the box, and the retail packaging is pretty cool. So thank you. Those that have stuck around, you'll all be receiving that NuBox patch. And for those of you that really went above and beyond and really got us mentioned out there, I got a special coin coming out for you guys as well. Continuing on along, I want to kind of talk to you about a shutter for a second. As you can see, the shutter is made up of several different pieces, and it requires tension to actually be in the system to work. But let's break it down. Through this whole process, I just want to share with you cool stuff. You ready? You want to just nerd out with me for a bit? Come on, let's just nerd out. First of all, lots of times with box cameras, you'll find these little half shutters that look like this. And because it's a rotary shutter, because this opening actually goes over the aperture of either the aperture stick or the actual shutter block housing, this is our timing mechanism. So the way that we're achieving up to 1/200th of a second shutter speed is that we're using a strong spring and then a thin shutter opening. But you know what that means? Because this whole system is modular, that there is a time, and I'm putting the cameras together so that in the future, when I'm ready to release a shutter speed upgrade kit, all you'll need to do is replace this and maybe your spring, and those will be really easy and readily available. And that would be really cool. Now, it's not something that you would do on every shot, obviously, but if you wanted to shoot slower, all it requires is using a different sized aperture. For example, this aperture right here, notice it's also on a flywheel. We're at about 1/200th of a second right here. I think 1/180th, 1/200th for this particular one. I was testing with a really wide slit, as you can see. And this flywheel design adds a little bit of extra weight to help tension the actual spinning motion and help it continue the motion from the spring. But this aperture right here, guys, you know what? This is nice and wide and circular. This one's more like 1/30th of a second. Right now, it doesn't need any more development. This one's more, when you use this aperture instead of this one, it's at 1/30th of a second. Now, putting the box and everything together is not something that is something I'm still working on. Of course, we're going to be shipping with a faster aperture as advertised, but it does mean that there may be some possibilities for you guys to say, hey Rob, could you customize mine with a shutter that's, you know, 1/60th or 1/100th of a second? There's a possibility for that. I'm not announcing anything. What I'm saying is, why not? Why not give you guys the choice? I mean, when I came out with this, I wanted 1/200th for me. See, if you notice this one's kind of in between. Look at this, right? So this is 1/200th. This is about 1/30th, right? But this is closer to about 1/60th, 1/80th. Do you see that? And I'm kind of holding it up so you can see. So the different aperture openings allow us to have different timings, which is pretty cool. Guys, it's 6 o'clock my time. That's what that sound was. So I just think that that's pretty cool. I also want to talk about why this is so important. The aperture stick actually sits behind the shutter block. The largest aperture that we can use will be determined by the shutter block. So we're using a nice wide, this one right here, I think is 16 millimeters, you know, maybe 17, like that across. I've been testing out different ones of those as well. And the reason that that's important is because now you can see that as we add our shutter, you can see how the shutter exposes the image, right? Okay, and this right here would be at like f5, 6, right? And that what actually happens is the shutter timing from start to finish actually allows it to expose properly. And I think that that's pretty cool. But notice here that if it's 1/200th of a second wide open, and it's traveling that entire distance, when we add a smaller aperture like f22, look at how much shorter of a timing it's open. That actually makes the aperture timing, it makes the shutter timing, makes it shorter. How cool is that? The reason that's important is because with this particular design, we actually have a very interesting system of variable shutter speeds, but we don't have variable tension springs. I just think that's really cool. This is all technical stuff. We can nerd out down in the comments. You can ask 1,000 questions about what does it actually do, how do these things impact timing and stuff. And the most important thing for us to remember there is that, yes, the coolest thing is the aperture on the shutter rotor is how we affect timing. So that means we can get really cool with this aperture. We could have one that was shaped kind of like a diamond in a square pattern. That way the smaller apertures would be illuminated properly because they'd have a wider aperture from the smallest point to the smallest point across, while still illuminating the larger apertures from top to bottom appropriately as they go across, because it would be allowing for the same amount of travel with one spring setting. I just think that stuff is really cool. I just really enjoy it. It's something that excites me about this modular design. It's something that excites me about the make community. Does it matter for the everyday person that just wants to get out and shoot at f16 or f22, just point and shoot? Nope, not at all. This only matters to people that want to join me on the maker side of all this, on the development side of all this, right after the Kickstarter ends and we start getting our forums up. Guys, it's so exciting to think that there are some of you out there that are going to be in the test program with new cameras and new shutters that are going to continue to help develop on this platform. You see, Hamm Camera Company is developing, we have made reference hardware for the next generation of photographer. That's serious. These types of innovations that we're moving forward with box cameras allow people to learn about science, math, technology, and things like that through photography, through an art form, and it makes it relevant. And it brings people into our community. And it's something that really excites me. Not only do we get to get great pictures of our family and our grandparents and our kids, we also get to learn and develop new ways to do that together. Guys, it really gets me excited. I'm thankful that you're here. Guys, I want to thank you for the backing the box. I'm Robert Hamm with Robert Hamm Photography. You can find me there for all my regular work. Here I'm Hamm Camera. Of course, you know me. If you didn't know, I'm a wedding photographer by trade. That's why all of this came about. And I want to thank you for watching. I want to remind you I'll catch you on the flip side. And don't forget, it's you guys that just brought the box back. Thanks.